I can't make head nor tail.
Just send an email to Mr. Putin.
Fix your alphabet.
All right, now we do see THK starting on that Sombra again, attacking here with Xavier Esports. Giant LYNX sticking through with the Rhine Goats, the typical 3-3 we do usually see.
And THK wrapping around the side, getting himself nicely set up. He is well and truly in position to pressure out the point, and Xavier's rotation already going pretty well, so Giant LYNX, their attention is very split here.
And Giant LYNX are trying to go for the intercept play there, which they just kind of dive on to Xavier as they're rotating, but they lose Panny super quickly. Yeah. Shock surprise on that one.
Thing is, while chasing THK as well, in a 5-on-1, he still managed to get a hack on Saijin God and then give them the slip, and has just managed another one. Now just keeping the pressure on that D.Va. It's so hard for Giant LYNX to approach this point. Luminous Ace goes down. That's with Saijin God still mostly being hacked out through the duration of that. Giant LYNX are just going to have to give up this point at this rate.
And this is where Giant LYNX just kind of put themselves positionally in a bad place. I mean, they were already way out of position when they tried to go for the play on the rotation. Didn't work out for them. They had to run back onto the point, expose themselves, got a member down, and suddenly for Xavier Esports, that's like, whoa, it's a free push.
This timing could not have been better. That is a huge EMP. They don't need to worry about support ultimates anyway because there are none, and this is an absolute wash on the point. This is an almost guaranteed cap, I dare say. Panty's hacked out will be finished off here, and Xavier still have ultimates to rotate into.
They don't even have good ultimates to really stall with either. Giant LYNX just have to wait for respawns here, and they can't wait. No time.
6 minutes and 24 seconds on the clock. Look, we said going into this, the win condition for Giant LYNX was going to have to be a sturdy, rock-solid defense with a powerful macro game, and then an at least decent attack in their own right. Unfortunately, they have now failed in one half of that.
That's a 1:36 offense total time from Xavier. That is probably not going to be possible for Giant LYNX to beat. Giant LYNX will be very happy.
Giant LYNX beat that. I will shave my mustache.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, let me make a bank transfer right now.
Mr. LYNX?
No, to the other. No. No, I shouldn't joke about that. But look, yeah, Xavier put up a really impressive time. It's going to be nigh impossible for Giant LYNX to really do much about it. They're going to really have to hope for a stellar offense. And I think even if they get a nice A offense here, the B is going to be really tough to get through. And part of the big problem here is you see Xavier Esports, the way they just get to attack A, everything goes so well for them. The better part about it is THK completes an EMP charge between getting from A to B. So as soon as you get up to B, the double cap's presented to you on a silver platter, and all you got to do is take it.
Like I said, the timing could not have been more perfect. Now, on the defense, sticking to a 3-3 for Xavier. Giant LYNX likely to match, not going to try anything funny. Just going to play some stock standard. They want to close out the win here. If they fully hold, they have secured the series, and they are finally out of that bottom place.
And it would be a long time coming for Xavier as well. 4 weeks of losses now to start to turn that ship around. And for Giant LYNX, I mean, their ship's still trying to leave the harbor.
A few more weeks to go.
They gotta take those ropes off and get those engines going because
we didn't weigh the anchor.
Yeah, that's the problem, right?
Happens to the best of us. Giant LYNX making the first rotation.
Much of a sailor myself.
Me neither. I just
clearly neither is Giant LYNX.
Yeah, they're haven't quite developed the sea legs. I don't know, do you grow sea legs? It's just like a balance thing, really.
No, it's extra legs. You actually have
this is a second pair of legs, but it takes
you have 6 limbs. You're like an
takes them a couple of days to attach them. That's why they say he hasn't got his sea legs yet. But at any rate, Thittercorn, landlubber that he is, does go down. I'm just hoping that someone falls into the water part of this map now, because there are so many available puns for that. But at any rate, this is a decent start for Giant LYNX.
It's already been 1 tick so far as well, so Xavier, Queen's really under a lot of pressure, which means difficult for them to get on top of the point, and it should be 2 ticks now.
Yeah, now, I mean, when is Xavier going to readdress? They're kind of waiting for Thittercorn. They've got to rally. THK takes huge chunks, though, as they do so. Panty's excellent timing here to keep these members up and running as that Earth Shatter went out. Didn't really get much connection anyway. That's going to be the grab coming out from Bombarapa, but honestly, Xavier have survived a lot of this. They have lost THK's mech and finally lose Tay, but there we go. Now Giant LYNX starting to get these last few kills through. Did end up being quite expensive, which means they don't have a lot to snowball forward with, but they have got a good cap there.
But I think it is important that they do get a 1 in 10 push because they do still get a bit of momentum. Like you mentioned, the problem is use so many ultimates, difficult to get the double cap now. They're running out of fuel. They don't have that large magazine size to get them through.
They have already got a third, though. Patapan coming up on his grab, had it just at the end of last fight. Going to go ahead and commit that one in. Self-destruct layered forward as well. Statistics already good just from the crossfire alone. And the self-destruct itself does not get anything, but honestly, the work was all done. Xavier set up an excellent kill box on the point there and just, you know, cashed in. And
I think for Xavier as well, when you look at that A defense, the way they lost has to be the best possible way to lose, where you are still charging up your own ultimates, so much so that Patapan gets to use the Graviton Surge, but more so than that, you force so much out of Giant LYNX. Like was mentioned, they got nothing to push through onto B, and now they're stuck in this position where Xavier can continue snowballing the defense, rotating into other ultimates, have the respawn advantage, and Giant LYNX have to spend minutes upon minutes upon minutes just to charge up to another advantageous point to actually finish the cap.
That's the thing, like time after time, Giant LYNX just kind of looked like me when my bathroom was being renovated and I had nothing to go on. Xavier already picking up a very early kill in that fight. Now Giant LYNX, even with the relatively even ultimates, can't use them. They don't want to throw them into a numbers deficit. So good discipline there, but it does just give more defense, more charge in terms of ultimates to Xavier. It gives more time on the clock as well.
And part of the way Giant LYNX want to be quote-unquote losing these fights now is they have to be getting ultimates out of Xavier Esports. Same way Xavier did to them when Giant LYNX took A. That's the only way Giant LYNX, as well as then charging their own ultimates, are really going to get a big enough advantage to secure B. It's not going to be an easy cap. One tick is going to be useful, but not as good as two ticks. Not as much pressure. It means Xavier Esports can still rely on some respawners to get through to continue stalling, and all of this is ticking down the timer. We're way far away now from being competitive with Xavier's time bank.
Even capping with maybe 3 to 4 minutes on the clock would be okay for Giant LYNX, because that's
half the time.
It's a good opportunity to get a point A, but now coming in, it has to kind of be this fight if they want to hit that goal, they want to hit that target. Self-destruct has done the work. There we are. They finally managed to get it through thanks to Luminous Ace getting a good Earth Shatter, opening up the self-destruct. Dedicorn able to stall for a little bit with the Transcendence. And he does get some time, but that is now not going to be an available stall tool for as these members respawn and regroup on the point.
So we need to see Tay get the sound barrier as well. Patapan's alive, but he needs to do a lot of work.
Yeah, huge kill on Queen there as he charged back in. That's probably the one that really helped secure it. Ooh, Tay nearly got killed and interrupted. Instead, he gets the sound barrier off, buys him and Patapan a little bit of time. But Giant LYNX with their own sound barrier, collecting these kills still, just looking to pick up this last little bit. It's going to be THK. The self-destruct won't even finish channeling. Would have got Sadistic, but that doesn't matter. They do cap the point, and they did fall within that band of time that I said was kind of necessary. This is still within the realms of achievable.
And this is where they're able to sort of improve upon their previous map. They improved upon the pole on Blizzard World. Now on Volsky, just by making it to the time bank, they've improved upon Blizzard World as well. Let's take a look at that opening fight again from Giant LYNX. This is where they kind of just rush onto the high ground, force Xavier back very quickly. Dedicorn gets caught in the crossfire, not able to get himself behind a shield. And Giant LYNX, because they get this opening pick, are able to just pressure that advantage. And this is, I believe, where...
Yeah, it's the last fight.
Yeah, this is the self-destructive.
This is an excellent passage of play. It actually looked a bit rough to begin with losing Sadistic.
I'm not sure if this is...
No, this is not quite. No, it's the next one after this. This is just one of the many fights that they lost. Don't even worry about it.
Good news is I wasn't, so...
Good.
I cleared that one.
Looks cold there, doesn't it?
It's cold, but strangely, Giant LYNX are still in hot waters because still looking at half the time, roughly, in that time back scenario. Like you mentioned, it is workable. That's important because we are seeing more and more life out of Giant LYNX as we are progressing through the series. The difficulty now is that they actually have to win this map to get to map number 4, and they would be on track to make a potential reverse sweep if that happens.
That's really the situation they're in, aren't they? They need a reverse sweep. They attack first as well.
And they need to get a tick. If they fail to get a tick here, I believe it goes to draw scenario, and then they would actually lose the series.
Yeah, ideally, they actually want to get a double cap as well. I mean, you're dead right. They
minimum expectation.
Need a tick minimum to still be in the race. That's what Xavier are kind of playing for here. If they can shut out Giant LYNX now, where they failed to last time, then they kind of get a freebie.
And Xavier are not taking the risk of staying on the roof either. They are kind of maybe concerned about being rushed on there, so just waiting to see if Giant LYNX want to pressure through. Bubbled Upper is kind of taking a decent amount of damage here, but is able to be saved, so Giant LYNX need to still find their approach. Time not on their side, so it's got to happen soon.
Yeah, and they've kind of been muscled about here, had a bit of high ground, sort of ended up kind of coming off it. Now they just got to approach on the ground. Good stun on Luminous. That's really big news. Or bad news, rather. Well, it's both. It's a headliner and it's not a positive one. Sadistic's actually the first casualty, but now Sajin God. Luminous Ace takes another stun and goes down. And now Giant Lynx are forced back after really dilly-dallying for a long time.
And let's take a look at the stack of 90s on the Xavier side as well. 3 members about to get those ultimates. SQX about to follow there as well, and suddenly Xavier in commanding position to continue snowballing on the defense. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Giant Lynx might need to use all of that time just to get the first cap onto A. Xavier would have to heavily misplay here to actually lose the point.
So the thing is, that first push is kind of the most advantageous for Giant Lynx because the playing field is somewhat guaranteed to be even in terms of ultimates. We're now past that point and they're officially fighting from behind.
This is where as well, because that first fight took so long, Xavier Esports just put in so much damage. Giant Lynx have a couple of things to work with, but so little, it pales in comparison to what Xavier have.
Sajin God goes for a bump, just takes a chunk of damage. It's going to be Transcendence to deal with the grab. That's decent stuff. The strike led in. Doesn't get anything, but Queen still found Sadistic in the charge, so Giant Lynx are already choosing to back out. That was a relative success, though, I would say. They actually got a good number of ultimates out. Charge on Luminous A is a bit of an unfortunate late death, but good number of ultimates. They do charge some of their own here, Giant Lynx.
And they do get routed as well, which is going to give Xavier a little bit more opportunity to get that charge back in their pocket.
Also burns time.
Sitting at 44% after using a Graviton Surge. Giant Lynx, you'd like to see them at those full 6 right now. They're going to have 5 kind of coming up soon. And we do need to see a scenario where they do win this fight. They don't have to throw all 5 here to actually take A, because then they won't be able to take B.
Thing is, if they have to commit them all to take A, then that's just going to have to be the price of it. They'll have to accept it. Oh no. Yikes.
That's an expensive price.
That's it. Yeah, all of those things. Well, it's costly. I suppose is the way.
I'll tell you why it's extra costly. That was the one fight where they maybe walk in with a decent advantage because Xavier win again, and not in a small way. It's not like Panties was the only one down. They cleaned up a lot of other Giant Lynx members while they were retreating, which gives ultimates back in the pockets of Xavier. So now it's actually realistically even.
30 seconds, like we said, at least 1/3. That is the minimum requirement here. If they walk away without even that, then Giant Lynx have effectively lost the series.
And I think Giant Lynx throw everything here. They must throw all 5 ultimates because there's enough on Xavier to match. And I think Xavier might even pull the trigger first, which is another problem for Giant Lynx.
Yeah, you throw everything in the kitchen sink, just knock the baby out with the bathwater. Self-destruct layered forwards. Unfortunately, the grab not too hot out of Umbarapa. No kills either side just yet. Only a D-Mech on THK, but that is something to work with. The Earth Shatter from Queen, not too successful, and he does go down. Nice pick up from Luminous Ace, who still has a Shatter. Throws it out now and picks up 2. 3, in fact, and they're able to get some kills. That was 3 hit with the ultimate, I mean. Getting SQX out of the picture. Nice finish off on the mech. They get Tay as well, and they have finally broken through. This will be a little bit more than 1/3. I expect this to be a full cap out.
And the team that puts the last card on the stack there, and it was Giant Lynx there with the Earth Shatter, is able to pull through, but it did cost him everything. Cost Xavier everything as well, but now that Xavier sit back onto B, we're back into the original attack phase for Giant Lynx, where they walk in with nothing. Xavier, at that point, at least had something to defend with, so this is maybe slightly more winnable for Giant Lynx than it was before, but respawn advantage, still a big deal, and less than 20 seconds remaining, you're not expecting too much on this offense.
They are coming up on a grab, though. They're actually leading Xavier in terms of charge here. That's really all they got to go on right now, and it's just shy of Thetacorn having himself a Transcendence, but they gotta go now.
But Boomber is low. It's like they want to go in, but they got low members and they need to start touching the point. We're into overtime.
Yeah, now as they commit, there's already a self-destruct. Luminous takes too much damage and goes down. The grab is there, but they've already lost Panties. Now counter grab. They still get a couple of kills, but it's just not enough. They don't have the members because of those early deaths that they suffered. Bombarapa goes down. Closer respawns for Xavier at any rate. They aren't going to quite get any progress on the second point, but they've kept the hope alive. 6 minutes and what was it, 24 seconds to hold point A? I mean, it's doable, but I don't know if I'd call it realistic.
It's certainly enemy at the gate at this point, and I think we're looking at it has to be realistically a perfect defense. The other scenario that we look at as well is inevitably if we do go on to B, which it feels like you should if you're Xavier with this amount of time, instantly once they cap A, Xavier have actually won because they can only then draw on B, which is still possible, but a draw would be the match victory in favor of Xavier. So Giant Lynx kind of out of frying pan into the fire in some ways here.
Out of the fire into the inferno, I don't know. I don't know that they were ever in the frying pan to begin with. I think it's always been Giant LYNX kind of trying to pull themselves out of the grave.
It's a lot more dark than the fire.
It is. I've had a rough week. Been watching a lot of Tim Burton films. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Remember when a Tim Burton film with Johnny Depp starring in it was a guaranteed hit? That is the most 2000s thing ever.
I thought Johnny Depp was like in every single Tim Burton film.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Certainly feels that way. And Helena Bonham Carter as well. What's up with that? Why did Tim Burton keep having his wife play Johnny Depp's wife? I don't want to look into that too much. Giant LYNX now on the defense. We said this is going to be, you know, a hell of a task, I'll be honest. And, well, 6 whole minutes. Let's see if they can do it.
And this is smart from Xavier as well. He's running the Sombra here and on Padapan as well instead of THK. Kind of does mean that if you do get one fight win, you cap A. That's really all you need to do. So they are banking on that one fight win. This is not going to be that one fight, though.
Yeah, much better play this time, committing to the 6 versus 5, not sort of wheeling back at the last minute to try and take on just Padapan alone on the point. Last time it was THK actually on the Sombra, but they let the Sombra be. They knew if they got the fight win quick enough, they would prevent the third from being capped. That was a very good play from Giant LYNX.
Looking at this defense, if Xavier wanted to be quite crafty here, they could actually start running some fire compositions with something with 6 minutes plus to play with. You can realistically do anything you want and have the room for error to kind of just have that cushion to say, look, if something goes wrong, we've got time to change. But see how the EMP goes first. That's the ticking time bomb for now. Once it does go off, if Giant LYNX can survive, that's when things go bad for Xavier. But right now, 1 member down for Giant LYNX is not what they want to do, not what they want to see here.
That right there is the end of the second act where one of the members suddenly dies and you're like, oh, things just got serious. Xavier just set up on the point. How are Giant LYNX suddenly the ones attacking back onto it? And in a 5 versus 6 to boot, now 4 versus 6. Shout out from Luminous A's is a complete nothing. Even Padapan, low as he is, does not quite go down. Giant LYNX getting absolutely washed here. And that is effectively the end, or at least the beginning of it, as Xavier now only need to get a third to seal the win. But with this, they've at least guaranteed a draw, which is an effective series win.
And let me tell you about a concept as well. As soon as you lose a member, you need to be the team that has 5, get a counter trade ASAP, because the longer you wait, the more that advantage plays into the team with 6. And right now, EMP's coming online soon. Queen shatters.
Yep, and it's not a hot one, I've got to say. Giant LYNX actually don't... Oh, but still THK threads the needle on a right click. He's got the charge to finish off Sadistic. And they're just going to muscle their way in anyway. Ultimates or no, that's a great EMP. Finishing off Panties, the real big threat in terms of defensive ultimates. That's going to be the third, all but secured now as it comes over the line. Xavier, 3-0, continuing the dominant streak.
Yep, not even going to be close to getting that draw. And we said, look at all these different kind of scenarios where maybe this could happen, maybe that could happen. Xavier said, none of it's going to happen. The only thing that will happen is that we will win this match. And it felt like from the first map, despite Giant LYNX starting to pick up pace, this is a very short race. Unfortunately, it's barely a 100-meter sprint at this kind. You're not running a marathon here. Maybe you out sprint or outpace Xavier down the line, but within the small margins of 3 maps here, Xavier just need to close this one out in those 3 maps, and they've done it.
You know what it kind of feels like? Kind of feels like Infinity War. Like you get partway through, like Giant LYNX are like
hold out for this
when they're on Titan, like they nearly get the glove off, but not quite. Now, like that was like a kind of getting the cap out on Volskaya there. It's like nearly, but no. And then like the very last, like they get a good defense on point A. It's like just maybe, and Thor kind of comes charging in, but no, finger snapped. It's done. It's over. Xavier got it. Well done, Thanos.
Well, the real winner at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Congratulations.
I'd like to give a big congratulations to Mr. Thanos for succeeding in his task.
First name Than, surname Moss.
Surname Oss. I don't know. It's like, does he have a surname? Can some person who knows more about comic books than I do confirm this for me? I wonder if his name actually Thanos comes from the fact that in the comics, apparently he does everything that he does. Instead of because he's got some philosophical argument, he just, death is like a woman and he wants to impress her. So he's like, I know, I'll kill literally half of everyone. And that's the plan there. But death in Greek mythology is called Thanatos. So I wonder if that's where Thanos
who's impressed by Xavier right now? Me. So they're trying to impress me. That's right. It's all about no. But we are going to head into map number 4, which is going to be on the escort game mode. So let's take a look at what that is.
Welcome to Watchpoint Gibraltar. This is escort. 2 teams face off as either defenders or attackers. This is the payload. The attacking team has a limited amount of time to escort the payload along a set path containing 3 checkpoints. The payload only moves forward when an attacker stands near it. Defenders can delay the payload's movement by standing nearby at the same time. To get moving again, attackers must clear away the defenders by force. Every time the payload reaches a checkpoint, the attackers score 1 point and gain additional time on the clock. If even one attacker is near the payload when the clock runs out, the game enters overtime. This extends play indefinitely until the attackers are either cleared off the payload or they gain more time by reaching a checkpoint. The round ends when the payload reaches the destination or when time runs out. Teams switch sides each round. Whichever team scores the most points and escorts the payload farthest wins.
And just like Infinity War, we do follow this up with Endgame, which is where we are right now in the series. The 4th and final map, the last chance for Giant Lynx to maybe claw their way back in. They won't win the series, but they will at least walk away with something.
Mr. Xavier, I don't feel so good. But Watchpoint Gibraltar, it's got a colon in it, like those Avengers movie titles, I suppose. You know, the first one is called Avengers Assemble elsewhere. Here it was just the Avengers. We didn't really bother with anything extra there. Like, we kind of got what it was all about. Like, I figured that they were coming together. They were.
I can't wait for the Watchpoint sequel. You know, Watchpoint. What's another location?
I mean, I like how we could just pick any of them, and we're like, place in the world. What's another place in the world? So you know what? I'm coming up blank.
Watchpoint Tasmania.
That is where they would put one.
Just to throw one in the middle of nowhere for you.
What's the Horn of Somalia? I think is what it's called. That, like, just I don't know. I'm just thinking about like strategically notable shipping lanes because that's what Gibraltar is. It's the mouth of the Mediterranean, so you know, get a similar thing on the.
So you're being quite resourceful, and I'm thinking about useless places to put them. Patapan's on a widow of those, so that's already quite scary for Giant Lynx.
Watchpoint Dargaville. But at any rate, this is, Patapan on the widow. Let's just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because I tell you what, Giant Lynx won't enjoy it.
Well, Giant Lynx needs to be kind of putting the foot on the pedal here, because if they play slowly like they have been, they're going to be at the mercy of the Widowmaker, so they need to be pushing forward, and they are. Yeah,
they've kind of done that one right. They pick up Queen and Tay, but unfortunately it's overall a 2 for 2, and that is with Xavier having the closer respawn right now.
Upper survives. He managed to get back on the point, or rather back on the map. Because it is even, though, you're kind of right, Giant Lynx do need to back out a little bit here.
Oh, no.
Well, that was a fully charged one, a lot more dangerous, but Upper just gets a little bit of a tease.
Just a tickle. Gets a taster. Yeah. I don't know, an appetizer. More of that to come. And Luminous Ace is dead. So this is now, I mean, this was the respawn, Xavier. I think technically still at a numbers advantage. I don't think Giant Lynx, actually no, if Luminous Ace was back then they had respawned. But hey, it's a 6 versus 5 now, and Xavier, they're still moving the cart. Giant Lynx are just kind of watching it.
The other thing is, Luminous Ace is too far away from his team. Giant Lynx are very split up right now. In fact, they're not even really on the point.
Yeah, it felt like it was just a day at the races. Giant Lynx sitting there watching the cars go by. I mean, the positions are completely reversed right now, and Giant Lynx, it's really showing. They're just slowly but surely getting picked apart. Even THK eating Boombarappa's grab there just to add insult to injury.
Insult to injury would have been leaving Panties alive there, just as Zenyatta at the backline tickling them as they walk forward.
How are you going to get back now?
And that's part of the issue because Giant Lynx somehow always find themselves on the wrong side of the map, like the points capped and members are not even close to, you know, where you expect them to be on their side of the map. They're on the opposite side of the map.
Not sure how that one keeps happening, but hey, here it is.
I mean, they're walking to the other side of the map and just
I mean, that makes sense,
caught,
right?
Yeah.
Speaking of getting caught, that's actually a good catch on Thittercorn, and SQX is going to go down. Giant Lynx, without really ultimates to go on, they just kind of force their way forward and are rewarded with some kills. So this could be the beginnings of a defense here.
Now that's the ideal kind of push from Giant Lynx as well. Just see an opening, walk in. It's been probably one of the most proactive plays that we've seen from Giant Lynx. It's been few and far in between, but when they do happen, they're able to find some decent success. So question becomes, Giant Lynx, why are they not doing this more? They need to find more positions where they can just get these openings.
What's going on with Widowmaker? Nobody jumps like that. I tried it once and I fell over hard. lifting both legs all the way up like that doesn't make any sense. Speaking of both legs up, Sergeant God just goes for a big leap of faith, sends himself forward, still goes down, self-destruct. It does actually catch Tay. That is something, but you'd probably rather have your Diva alive right now, but they still pick up a few more. So again, this aggressive defense from Giant LYNX is paying off, just muscling their way forward. And
that's how you need to play against the Widowmaker on the other side as well, because the slower you are, the more value that Widowmaker gets, the better sight angles Patapan gets here as well. So you can see where Patapan ends up going down, just kind of looking through that small door at the bottom. And it's not what you want to be doing if you are the Widow. You need to be pushing through. You need the rest of Xavier to be diving forward such that Patapan can then find some angles to play with.
All right, what's the go here? Same kind of move. Sergeant God pushes forward. They're just trying to get damage down. And again, they pick up Tay.
On the flank
as well. This is going just exceptionally right now for Giant LYNX. They've got ultimates to burn as well. They do lose Rocket. They don't need to use any of those ultimates. This is going swimmingly.
And Rocket's trying to go down. He's a Lucio. He comes back easily. Bumpadapa barely survives, just manages to creep back in. And that's the one you want to stay alive because he's got the energy charge much slower than other picks as well. Patapan sees the writing on the wall, isn't going to find anything with the Widowmaker, so is going to change onto the Zarya instead.
And I do like this. This gives Xavier, first of all, some answers to Giant LYNX's aggression, and also will eventually give them opportunities to just muscle their way through. But actually playing ultimate catch-up right now. Oh, that is massive. Look at that. And that's just as the remake was finally coming in for THK as well.
It's just slowing down Xavier a lot. And Giant LYNX are, you know, slowly finding their groove. And this is what we wanted to see in map 3. But now we're in map 4 where technically it's too late. But still, Giant LYNX is showing a lot more progress, you know, a lot more proficiency than they've shown on either of the 3 maps.
So is this spoilers for Avengers Endgame? I don't know. Is this how that one's going to go? Because this is starting to look decent for Giant LYNX, I got to be completely honest.
Patapan's going on the Reaper now.
I mean,
see what you can do on this one.
Why not, right?
Well, I'll give you a lot of reasons why not, actually, but
don't.
Sure.
It's like bringing Captain Marvel in for Endgame. Self-destruct coming forward. I don't mean don't do it. You know, I had a completely separate joke. I don't care how you want to take that. And Xavier, though, they've finally kind of made some headway here. Good double in response from Sergeant God, but unfortunately they've lost their kill pressure now. Xavier should just be able to pick up these last few, especially with the Death Blossom, just to make it fancy.
I'll be honest, in professional play, it's quite rare to see anyone get kills with Death Blossom, so just getting one is quite impressive. And, you know, everyone in Gold and below is thinking, like, what do you mean? Like, that's your team fight win every time. It's like, well, that's because you don't play against Brigaders that know how to stun. This time around, so Xavier, they finally get the cart pushing along. It's taking them a long time to do so. Bit of a strange turnaround.
Finally getting back on. And Luminous AZ to stun. Gets drilled down by Patapan. I mean, this Reaper's just going largely unanswered here. It's like they're not even particularly aware that he's in the fray. They haven't changed what they're doing in light of there being a Reaper, which is why he's getting away with this pick right now.
And I think this is a good adaptation, you know, all criticisms aside for the hero pick, in that because Giant LYNX have now just sped the pace up quite significantly, Xavier's saying, look, if you want to play at this pace, we're going to dive back into you as well. We're going to get those brawls going, and this is where maybe Patapan can get a lot of value, but technically Giant LYNX now swapping onto the Rhine is good. It's taken them a while to do so, but now on the Rhine itself, they have a better chance of dealing with this. Bumpadapa is technically on the better pixel. Zarya, you'd expect to get a lot more value out of those ultimates in particular.
Love me a good delay there. Haven't seen a real hearty stagger on a Diva for a while.
That's given them a lot of progress on card as well.
Exactly. It's free movement, right? So now Giant LYNX back in full fighting force, able to address this one, but Xavier have ultimates they can dig into.
That's the expected result from
nice
Death
timing
Blossom
on the Transcendence to cancel the Death Blossom. Can't say the same for the Self-Destruct though, and now Giant LYNX are just going to start falling over here as, again, I mean, Patapan's still unanswered for despite the Death Blossom not getting kills this time around.
Xavier now reaching the end point of this cap as well. They have defensive ultimates coming online, which means that Graviton Surge that Bumpadapa is saving up is perhaps going to get counted up, but still needs to be used ASAP.
You're joking. Sadistic not even able to get out of the spawn there. There's already a lot of low health members. Good layering on the Self-Destruct though. Let's see if this pays off. It does get Queen. That is something, but they're still going to need to get more members through. Panties, that is so rough. He's also not going to make it out of spawn. And it's just continuing to go the way of Xavier. No matter what kills Giant LYNX get through, Xavier are getting more. Still no Death Blossom kills on that one. So on 3 Death Blossoms, it was only 1 kill, but it was still no deaths on the Reaper.
I think the voice line just lies. I mean, no one dies, so.
Certainly not 3 whole times.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, don't die, don't die, don't die.
Live, live, live. We have a shorter term to say what you were saying.
No, but it's different because then you'd be trying to have, I don't know, it's not.
I mean, not dying is the same as living.
I know,
effectively.
But
there it is. There's the one.
That's the one time, but that's only one die. It's not 3 dies, just one time.
It's 1 die.
Die, live, live. That's how that one goes.
Die, live, live. What is it? It's starting to feel like a slot machine. That was right after the double kill from
like a really dark slot machine that.
Yeah.
Plays with your mortality. That's quite grim. How's your week going?
That's how tell you what, that's how the Greek gods did it. I don't know if it was specifically a slot machine, but it's like
it's quite advanced.
It's like you know that thing is like you know you play a game of chess against the Grim Reaper for your soul. Like what if it turns out the game is like it's just a slot machine? Go ahead and pull, see what happens. It's like
it's just pure chance.
Live, live, live. Look at that. Go buy a lottery ticket. Your lucky day, champ. See you in a couple of weeks. You still have a heart condition, sir.
Wow.
I mean, that's the thing. Even if you beat death at the game of chess, you're still just going to end up back there, right? Like, it's not like okay, now you get to live forever. That's not how it works.
Maybe you do if you're a chess master, you're a chess grandmaster.
I know. Yeah, that's the thing. If that were the case, right, then like there would be a lot of like the oldest people in the world would all be Russians because they've got most of the chess grandmasters. Why is that, by the way? What is it with Russians and chess?
Must be a different game because the Japanese live the longest, so you know.
I know. That's
clearly,
the thing.
chess is not the game. I'll just tell you that.
It's actually Go. You play Go against the Grim Reaper.
Patapan's back on the Spider though, so no Reapers this time around. Giant Lynx on the attack. So expect both teams are going to be running Winston for the first part, but again, Giant Lynx need to be pushing. Need to be getting aggressive. You can't let Patapan get away with this Widow pick.
It's also double sniper realistically, so the kill pressure is all there. Yeah, really nice. Gets Luminous A's low, but they don't actually finish it off. There is enough cover in that particular instance. So Giant Lynx have kind of got through the first rough part of this map.
The rough part is potentially still here because Patapan, if he finds a decent angle, he can really get the crossfire going. As the cart pushes forward, though, it's going to be more and more difficult. You can just see how scared Giant Lynx are. They desperately need to get the cart above this hill, though, if they want to make some progress.
Sage God takes a lot of pain. That's the thing, they're still just getting held up. A member gets really low, and they have to sort of pull off the pressure. And now when they finally decided to commit in, again, because these members are getting low, they just inevitably end up going down. This is a couple of kills in response, so nice pick on THK, finishing that one off, confirming that kill. Giant Lynx maybe have a bit of momentum on their side.
They're threading the needle here because they could have lost a few members of the snipers right now, but they've actually picked up a couple. Just as I say that, Queen's been the one to pick up members instead.
Oh man, now Patapan gets one. Queen does go down, but the damage has been done. Just as Giant Lynx looked like they were making some headway, suddenly Xavier just get a few kills back and it all falls apart.
I was going to say the D-Make probably hurts the most, but actually doesn't get staggered out this time, which... You know, you kind of see a couple members there, maybe THK saying, like, should have kept the Baby Deeper alive. That's a bit of a hindsight one there for Xavier, who still have a pretty decent hold on this 8 points so far. Good news for Giant Lynx is because the cards move forward, the points should open up a little bit. Patapan's got to be careful.
Luminous A's is already dead. Boomba up a huge Pyro Grenade, huge damage. I mean, this is just fantastic. This is Xavier just kind of digging into really just one ultimate and beyond that, completely out-fragging.
And by the way, I apologize. I forgot to mention the second part of that, which is Patapan needs to be careful in case it goes down like that. But also, Giant Lynx need to be careful against Patapan because they lost a lot of members to him. This is an opening now, a very small opening, where if Giant Lynx were currently on the cart taking a fight, this would be ideal. But Patapan's probably going to get back to the fight any second.
Yikes. I mean, that's at least getting to commit one support ultimate, but Xavier, they can just dig deep, right? They've got a Primal Rage here. THK is still alive, but now Tay might commit himself to Transcendence. Actually chooses not to. They use the self-destruct to reset the mech, and Giant Lynx haven't actually got back in the cart in all this. We're still just fighting off to the side here, up on some high ground. Patapan finally gets back in the fight and immediately pays that one back to Panties.
And look at the cart positioning as well. It's kind of moved back a decent amount now, so it's progress reset, rather. Giant Lynx need to get back on and actually reclaim that initial land they grabbed. And for Xavier, I mean, ideally they've just continued to push Giant Lynx back.
And there finally is Giant Lynx getting that aggression again, pushing their way forward. Another nano boost, but again, the nano boost is enough to just pick up kills. And just every single time, it finally feels like Giant Lynx, they make the right moves. They get some kills to back it up, and then Xavier get a couple of kills back. Their members come back in because of how the timing's working. Giant LYNX give up ground again.
Let me explain what this is like. It's you're pulling on that slot machine again, but it comes up really slow. The results come through. Live, die. And the third one comes up as dying. You're like, oh, goodness.
Come on.
So close.
Gee, can I go again? I mean,
that's a big eat, though. That's something.
Yeah, Giant LYNX do get to go again, but probably for the last time here, get to pull that lever, see what happens. SQX goes down. THK barely gets to self-destruct here. Queen, Primal Rage, but this time they're not actually getting the kills. Really struggling. Saijin, God, BMEC, that's it. Finally getting Luminous A's now. Sadistic as well. Cap. Oh, but the cap came through in spite of the fight win from Xavier. Just the fraction of a hair too late.
And they're all sitting there. Queen's there like, I'm here. I'm on the card. What went wrong? What's funny is the card capped. Giant LYNX still lost the fight. Xavier on that cart, like, to be honest, we could still just defend A here.
Like, what do we do now?
I guess we have to go into the hangar.
Guess we'll fight here instead now. This is where the double sniper comp should be able to do quite well as well, especially for this first part. Just so much high ground.
As long as they can maintain control of this upper section of the shuttle, and Patapan is not under pressure, then they will be fine. But for Giant LYNX as well, the further this cart gets through, the less that control is available for Xavier.
I like the aggression from Giant LYNX, and it gets rewarded. Once again, Xavier going to try and pull a reversal using that nano boost, but this time not really getting the kills they need. Dragon Strike instead going to come across, try to split up this team, but they don't get any kills off that, and Xavier slowly getting beaten down here. The grab from Bumbarapa secures the last few members there. They get a good number of kills in that, and Patapan's not going to find anything on the Doomfist. SQX goes down. THK is going to take a dive, and that's suddenly another cap from Giant LYNX.
So here's the problem for Xavier. Because they're running Widowmaker, they are somewhat in a space where they're kind of waiting for something to happen on the Widowmaker, which is, I'm going to argue, is not the correct way to play anyway. But for Giant LYNX, they just continue pushing, saying that Xavier, if they want to defend, have to come to us. As long as Patapan doesn't get a kill, it's fine, and they are now still snowballing. Giant LYNX can still pick up kills, and they're doing so. That's going to give them a lot of progress.
Well, that's a kill. Take that for what it is. Xavier are actually really behind right now.
Giant LYNX need to take as much as they can for what it is right now, and this is the kind of spawn cap that will give them that.
Oh, but Luminous Ace is on the wrong side of it. He's already taken damage. He does survive the bump, but I mean, he's now fighting this entire thing on half health. He can't keep the pressure up, but they do still finish Patapan, and Luminous Ace comes out alive. He decides to go back in, and like you said, with Primal nearly up, he can actually afford to as they kill Queen as well. Now he pops that to keep everyone stuck in base as the payload is actually rounding to the finish.
Yeah, they've been able to just get so much free push right now. Xavier struggling to get members out.
Now they're all starting to grab self-destructs to stop anyone else from coming in. The counter self-destruct not going to get anything. Patapan instantly destroyed. Shatter out from Queen. It looks fancy, but they can't follow up on it. They go into our time bank with more time than Xavier. Avengers endgame is exciting.
Look at this. I mean, it's crazy that this is how it pans out, because we were saying from, even as early as Blizzard World, this is where it seems like Giant LYNX are improving map to map. They're getting better map to map, and maybe now the pressure is gone, map 4 is even better. You have to start imagining if they win Volskaya, they are in a winning position now on Gibraltar, where, to be quite fair, they can win this too. If they're even better by map 5, they actually complete the reverse sweep. This would have been a very different story to tell, and Giant LYNX are just a real shame that we're in this position where Xavier have already closed out the series. Look, the gauntlet's been completed and the finger snap's already been done, but for Giant LYNX now, it's about what remains of this that they can still scrap together. I've read the script of Endgame, that's exactly how it goes.
Oh, come on. No, that is going to be no snipers, at least for now. This could be a bit different from Xavier. No snipers means don't have to worry about all those same angles. I knew someone, actually. I went to high school with someone called Ann Gill. So Ann Gill, she got away with it. Actually, I heard the smoothest thing I've ever heard in my life, because we were in maths once, and the teacher said something about like, he had a thing drawn up on the board and said obtuse angle, and she just sort of interrupted to correct and went acute angle, and another guy went, you're acute angle, and those two are married now. It's a real story. Not seriously. Smoothest thing I've ever heard in my life.
There's another way that goes where she just gives him the dirtiest look and they don't get married. Like, wow, that was creepy.
They're actually sworn enemies. Xavier making a bit of a hot swap there. They do want to commit to the Reaper though.
And this is a kind of like a prediction from Xavier as well. They kind of just seeing if...
Okay, you made it back.
If Giant LYNX want to play off the map again.
Can't catch and break there. They do trade one back though, so that's effectively a 1-for-1 on Winston's. Now a little bit worse than that though, as Patapan starts to hit his stride. He gets up close, he starts getting those shots in, and no one really deals with him.
Oh, and he wishes he had more life still there. It's just not quite enough. Xavier still had player advantage though, so they're going to get the cart moving again, and they have predicted correctly. They felt like Giant LYNX have now got into the space of the game where they want to run it, so we're going to have a Reaper here for them to run into.
This is where the win condition really comes in. Playing to the objective. You're in that overtime. Giant LYNX just need to force Xavier off. Xavier, excuse me, if they can keep some momentum here, thank you. They should just be able to keep this one going.
And I think if they don't cap, they might lose this game as well. Giant LYNX are in position to get a lot done here. Ultimate's starting to come online.
Yeah, but they're already taking so much damage. Again, Patapan. He gets up close and free fires, and Sergeant God is now dead twice to a Death Blossom. The only person to die to a Death Blossom so far in this entire series, indeed in this entire tournament. And Xavier charge up other ultimates off that as well.
And this is where as well, look at Giant LYNX. They actually had 3 ultimates, but they just didn't quite have them at the correct time to use them on that defense. And for Xavier, continue pushing through. If they had failed to cap through A, Giant LYNX could have a very winnable position, but now going to B, this gets harder and harder for Giant LYNX once it gets to their own attacking phase.
Ultimates coming up for Xavier, as they say, you reap what you sow. Thank you, I'll be here all week. I mean, the question is now just how much ground will they gain, right? Because, I mean, the more they get, the harder it gets for Giant LYNX. They've only got 2 minutes, which is more than what Xavier had, but is also longer, well, it took them longer than that to get here the first time around.
Look at the flank from Patapan as well. He has been caught out, so that's a bit problematic. Expecting Giant LYNX to throw a bunch of ults here. Graviton Surge to open with.
Self-destruct laid in as well. Don't really have a good way of blocking it, and it finally gets through. Gets Patapan as well. Now Xavier throwing in their own ultimate. Self-destruct from THK, but not in a good position at all. No kills coming in. They don't have any kill pressure between these 3 members, and Giant LYNX are going to force Xavier off this payload. Absolutely no surprises left to come here. Even if Queen makes it back here with the Primal Rage, which I don't think he will after THK goes down, overtime should disappear pretty quickly. There it goes. Decent bit of progress, but honestly, this is still quite achievable now for Giant LYNX.
And you're probably wondering, how does a Reaper die to a self-destruct there? But because Patapan actually gets implicated on top of the shuttle...
How does a Reaper die to a self-destruct?
You know, it gets implicated on the top of the shuttle. I just waited, just in case you had a follow-up there.
No,
and he gets forced to use the Wraith Form quite early, so he didn't have it available to escape the self-destruct damage. And Xavier, if they had maybe kept their members alive there, if they survive against the initial repush from Giant LYNX with the ultimates, they actually had more than a few coming up online for themselves. And a B cap was looking quite likely if they had survived, but not going to be the case. Giant LYNX, despite not holding on A, with 1 minute, which was Xavier's attack time, Giant LYNX can still actually finish this map with a victory. This is very capable. They've got to get A, which they've done previously, and then halfway through B is very doable if they can get a little bit of snowball momentum going.
All right. What do you have in the bag, Giant LYNX? How are you going to do it? 2 minutes, 61 meters. Impress me. I feel like the mean judge on those panel shows.
Now you got the contestants all nervous, like, oh, I don't know.
Oh, gee. Sure hope I'm going to impress Mr. Carroll. That American Idol sucks.
Wow. It's unnecessary. Giant LYNX now going to be opening up with what seemed like an opening hold hook play, just to see if they can maybe find a pick there. It would have been very helpful. Starting out on the right instead is actually going to help them a lot against the Reaper, which they've read correctly.
Yeah, they don't quite get the drop there, but they pick up Tay. So honestly, Xavier not getting the start that they were wanting with that little hidden play. This is a great start for Giant LYNX. When you consider how long actually Xavier took to really get possession of the payload, they were already in overtime at this point.
And look, you see Xavier just kind of setting up Patapan as well, trying to shadow step him away to get an angle. But while that's happening, Giant LYNX like, your Reaper's gone. Let's take this 5v6. Take down 2 members. Patapan's in position, but can't do anything with that. Now Giant LYNX on their way through to A, and possibly on track to cap this one unless Xavier can really make something work.
I mean, let's talk about stakes here for a second. Xavier do kind of want to pick this up. They want to get a 4-0 purely because what that means against kicks later on, but honestly, Giant LYNX, they've kind of hit their stride. They got momentum going. Patapan is getting damage in. He DMX Saiyajin God, but he's being dealt with a lot better now. A lot of that's just coming down to Giant LYNX having good focus on these other members. They've already capped A.
I think Patapan should probably look for a change here. You're not doing a lot versus Orion. That 2000 HP shield is really something. Bit of a pick on the Rocket. It's not going to be good enough because Rocket's going to respawn. Lucio, again, very quickly gets back to the point. This is now 30 seconds remaining and a very doable 30 seconds. Grav coming online. Sound Barrier and Earthshatter all coming online. And Xavier Esports, both defensive ultimates, not there just yet.
I mean, they also can't take one fight and then hope for another. They've actually just got to accept that this is the last fight, full stop. And Xavier nearly at those ultimates, but just like a little bit behind THK. The first one out with that grab. No kills off that one. Now it's Giant LYNX's turn. What are they going to throw up first? Earthshatter gets Queen. Patapan's already down. That's not the hottest trade settings from Theticorn, trying to just keep these members alive. Shatter is there, self-destructs, kills Tay. Giant LYNX keeping it going. Xavier struggling to get the damage output, just slowly but surely losing member after member. THK, SQX, Death Blossom gets Rocket, but that is all it's going to get. Die meant 3 kills over the whole game. Giant LYNX get one back on the board.
And this is the time where they get to pull that lever. It's live, live, live for them because they managed to take this map win. We did say, look, this is looking like the most winnable map of the entire series, and they deliver on that one. It just feels like Giant LYNX are this team that is so capable when things go well for them, when, you know, the chips start falling in the right places and they kind of find their groove a little bit. Xavier, first 3 maps, reasonably consistent. First map, very one-sided. Blizzard World, a little bit less so. Volsky, oh, it's going to trick you now. Go on to watch my Gibraltar. Hang on a second, we're losing.
Surprise, surprise, Thanos. But at any rate, look, that is how it falls. And look, it's still Xavier picking up the win. We talked about the sort of the overall, you know, position of these two teams desperately needing wins. Look, we'll give credit where it's due to Giant LYNX, but at the end of the day, this does now leave them in last place. No ties, no nothing. Well, they are.
They were technically last place anyway because of tiebreakers, but now they're like definitely last place.
And like no one else is. It's just them on their own. Well, it's the 6 of them, so they got company. But yeah, no, that's. I think that's the really telling thing here. At this point, you've got to say it feels like there aren't many achievable wins left for Giant LYNX.
Yeah, the next game is Cyclone Coupling, and based on what we saw from last week's Cyclone Coupling, it depends. This week now they have to continue that. Cyclone Coupling start to roll back down the hill, then they will be
degraded into just a tropical storm.
They will be, you know, there's still a little light breeze. They'll be within striking distance of Giant LYNX because week 7 is Global Esports, and that's probably not going to be the one. So
Pleasant Zephyr Coupling.
So there is a world where Giant LYNX could finish 0-7, and they are going to do their best to avoid it. And I think next week is going to be their next best shot to do so. But right now, it's all Xavier, 1-4. Finally got one on the scoreboard. A little bit of pressure taken off the shoulders. The weight just alleviated ever so slightly as they make their attempt to climb back into top 6.
And there it is. Writ large, Xavier still with a couple of very winnable matches ahead of them as well. They play Kicks next week, and I'm not quite sure who they play after that, but at any rate, still...
Cyclone Coupling as well.
My goodness. But at any rate, still very achievable for them to break at least into that 6th place. This has kind of been the beginning of that official momentum shift that we've been looking for. Yep. It's not just looking better in terms of gameplay, it's actually getting that on the board. So even at this late juncture in the season, Xavier still with enough hope to get into the playoffs and finally getting the wins to back that up, I'd say.
Yeah, the next one is, I believe, literally going to be the decider for 6th and 7th places. Kicks and Xavier, the winner that will make 6 and the loser will be in number 7. And
unless Kicks win. Unless Kicks win.
Well, that's the thing is, well, you're not
wrong. You're not going to rule it out. I don't know.
I'm mostly ruling it out, but
maybe Spider-Man stays dead. Maybe Homecoming, maybe Far From Home's a bait and switch. Not going to rule it out. Not going to rule it out.
I mean, like,
how many MCU references can I cram into this broadcast? Let's find out.
Already too many for me. No.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I've been doing a rewatch ahead of Endgame, so it's kind of on the brain right now.
I can tell.
If you don't cry at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think you're not quite human. I think you're a lizard person.
I don't think I've cried ever, so what does that make me? No.
You want me to change that?
Good luck. No. I don't think you can. Just start cutting onions. How you doing now?
He's like, I'm just imagining you like immune to onions. Be like, what is this guy? You're a robot.
Throw it at my face, just juice it up in my...
rubbing onions on your eyeballs. Yeah, well, look, we'll get there one day. But look, I mean, this is now this situation where like Xavier are starting to gear up towards playoffs, and it's very achievable that they will qualify. The question will still remain: how good do they look from that point? Are they still a team that can potentially make a semifinal like they have in the past, or is this just sort of holding on during a downfall?
And they really need Kicks to lose the next game to be within distance to take down in that 6th or 7th place decider for next week, and we're going to find out exactly how Kicks perform in the match coming up. They're going to be playing up against Jupiter, so you do not want to miss that one. We'll see you on the other side.